cartel. Kaya kahit na nag-i-import ng rice without tariff, mahal pa rin ang rice. And you know, this is bad for the administration kasi ang tawag nito, kung ano perception ng tao sa administration, the popularity of the administration usually depend on the price of rice. Alam mo, one of my investigation tungkol sa onion, yung mga onion farmers sa Nueva Ecija, they were forced to sell the onions at 8 pesos per kilo. Ang ano nila, ang kanilang cost is 25 pesos dahil wala daw silang warehouse. Oo. And then we discovered that there is a warehouse given by the government to their co-op. Ang ginawa nung kanyang in charge ng co-op, pinalist sa trader. Tapos hindi pinagamit sa small farmer. Tapos yung 8 pesos na yun na binili, yun ang binenta sa atin at 600 pesos per kilo nung nagkagulo tungkol sa onion. So ibig sabihin, dapat i-inventaryo niyo yung mga warehouse na binigay sa mga co-op kasi imbis na paggamit sa co-op, pinarilis sa trader. Oo, tapos yung mga co-op forced to sell their goods ng napakamura kasi mabubulok. Oo, yan.
Hindi po ba trabaho yan ng DA? Bakit ibibigay na naman ng kapangyarihan sa NFA?
Came about, okay? In 2018, I was approached by the Department of Finance to liberalize the importation of rice with tariff, with 35% tariff. Dati NFA lang ang nag-i-import ng rice without tariff, and parang nakita nila nakasabuatan ng NFA ng cartel, kaya kahit na nag-i-import ng rice without tariff, mahal pa rin ang rice. And you know, this is bad for the administration kasi ang tawag nito, kung ano perception ng tao sa administration, the popularity of the administration usually depend on the price of rice. Kaya kinausap nila ako. In fact, during that time, pinatatanggal na nila sa akin ng NFA. But there are 4,000 employees sa NFA. So I said, I cannot do it. Otherwise, nasa online ako everyday. Binibira ako ng 4,000 employees na nawalan ng trabaho. Kaya sabi ko sa kanila, kung gusto nyo tanggalin, kayo magtanggal. Hindi ko tatanggalin yan. But I agreed to the liberalization of the importation of rice with tariff as long as they will return all the money to the farmers. Yun ang condition namin. I will pass it, but they have to return the money to the farmers for the development of the farmers, for the rice farmers to be competitive compared to the farmers of Vietnam and Thailand. So I asked, and they agreed. So I asked the Philippine Institute for Development Study to make a study why Vietnam can produce rice at palay at 6 pesos per kilo, while the Philippines produce rice at 12 pesos per kilo. Doble. Oo. And they did a study. You know, whenever I write a law, I ask PIDS to do a study. Ayoko kasing hulaan yung problema eh. Mahirap yun ang huhula tayo, which will affect our whole population. So they did a study. Ang resulta po ng study, yung 6 pesos difference, 350 noon because of high labor cost, because Vietnam is mechanized and we are not. Oo. And yung 250 noon is the low productivity because Vietnam has better seeds than us. Kaya low ang productivity natin. So when I wrote the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, I put 5 billion to mechanization, 3 billion to distribution of quality inbred seeds and teaching people how to produce that inbred seeds. And then 1 billion to land bank para hindi maging victim ang farmers ng 5-6. And then 1 billion to training divided to test the ATI, PhilMech and PhilRice, because I believe that even if we mechanize, if we don't train them to use the machine and to maintain the machine, that will be useless. And in the long run, we have to teach them how to produce the inbred seeds of PhilRice, because in the long run, dapat hindi na natin sila bibigyan ng seeds. They will produce their own seeds. So nilagay ko po yung training doon. Ngayon, nilagay ko po yung training sa TESDA because I was a visitor of the Association of Farm Schools in France. So, and when I went there are thousands of farm schools in France. I was surprised because France is a first world country. It is not an agricultural country, and mahilig lang sila sa food because they cook well. Oo. And I visited the farm school. Lahat ng may farm school. Ibig sabihin lahat ng aspect ng agriculture may farm school. Private farm schools. And one farm school I went to, it's a 100-hectare wheat farm. Kasi sila, they eat bread instead of rice. So wheat farm sila. This 100-hectare wheat farm was given to the son of a farmer. There were 3 children, kaya lang yung unang anak, nag-lawyer, pumunta sa Paris. Yung pangalawang anak, nag-CPA, pumunta din sa Paris. So sa kanya, ibinigay yung farm kasi siya lang ang naiwan do sa farm kasama ng kanyang parents. So this is something that the farmers of the Philippines should emulate. Huwag niyo pamamana ang farm niyo do sa mga pumupunta sa abroad. Ipamana niyo do sa nag-i-stay at that takes care of the farm, di ba? Oo, kasi doon natin nakita, sa kanya pinamana, 100-hectare wheat farm. And I asked him, how many employees do you have? And he said, none. I'm the only one. I'm fully mechanized. So you can see that a 100-hectare wheat farm can have no employees as long as you are fully mechanized. He is the one managing the mechanization of his farm. So tama rin yung study ng PIDS na tayo, bababa ang presyo ng bigas natin pag tayo nag-mechanization. Kasi bababa yung labor cost ng ating rice. So yun ang nag-reinforce sa akin. And nung umuwi ako, isinulat ko yung farm tourism law na provided that encouraging all farms to build their own farm schools and tourist farm. Nagulat ako pagka pirma ng presidente ng farm tourism law, lumapit na sa akin yung mga farm owner at sabi sa akin, "Ma'am, ano ba yung farm school?" So I was so surprised that in an agricultural country, they do not know what is a farm school. So meron po kaming lupa sa Las Piñas na idipo ni Manny, gagawin niyang subdivision. Kinausap ko siya na wag niya nang gawin subdivision, gagawin kong farm school. Para pag may nagtanong sa akin na farm, ano ba ho yung farm school? Sasabihin ko, you come to Las Piñas and see my farm school at yun ang gayahin mo. Kaya I also have a farm school operated by the Villar Foundation. So, ikinukwento ko lang sa inyo kung ano yung reason why ganun ang isinulat ko do sa Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund. Oo. And I want to say that the control of the disbursement of money in the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund is controlled by the law, the provision of the law. It's not controlled by anybody. Whereas we have another rice program, the National Rice Program, it's controlled by the Department of Agriculture. Kaya kung hindi nyo matake yung Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, pakialaman nyo yung National Rice Program. Oo. Kasi yung National Rice Program natin ngayon, mas malaki ang budget kesa sa Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund. Right now, it has a 30 billion budget. Oh, and 15 billion of which is used for buying hybrid seedling of rice, imported. Oh, mas mahal yan eh. Ang local seedling is about 30 pesos per kilo. Ang hybrid seedling is 250 pesos per kilo. Alam nyo, sabi nila malaki daw ang ano niyan, pero malaki din ang inputs. Oh, malaki ang harvest pero malaki ang inputs. And I want to share you yung sinasabi ng mga farmer. Recently, dati gusto nila yung hybrid seedlings. Alam ko yung hybrid seedlings pang mayaman yan eh kasi mahal. Oo, but that's okay. Pero sinasabi nila, yung mga rice farmer daw, ayaw na recently nung hybrid seedling kasi ayaw daw tumubo. At may chismis na yung binibili daw natin sa abroad, reject nila. Yung hindi nila tinatanim, pinagbibili sa atin. Tapos, pagdating sa Pilipinas, ayaw tumubo. I just want to inform Secretary TU about this chismis para you will be guided accordingly. And of course, another big disbursement ng National Rice Program is the chemical fertilizer. We import 10 billion worth of chemical fertilizer every year. Ang problema ng chemical fertilizer, 38% of the soil of the Philippines are degraded. And I asked the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, how do you solve the degradation of the soil? And their answer is compost all your waste and bring them back to the soil. So meron talagang support for composting to produce organic fertilizer. Oo. And nakita ko rin po yan sa France. They prohibited the use of chemical fertilizer and pesticide. They return to natural farming. Bakit? Kasi sabi nila, yun daw kita nila sa agriculture kasi nag-e-export sila ng agricultural products. Nauubos lang to clean the river of the pollution caused by chemical fertilizer and pesticide. So that's their reason. I don't know if that's what they told me. So I'm just sharing with you what they told me. So, iyon po. And kaya ko po nilagay sa farm school ang training ng coconut farmers. Coconut farmers, ng rice farmers. Because mahihirap po yung rice farmers natin. Yung farm school po, what you call this? Town-based. Whereas ATI is based in regions. Bibigay po namin kay Secretary EU Laurel yung aming Directory of Farm School. Every year I try to update this because I want the farm school to be proud of themselves. They are in a book. And so there are 2,805 farm schools in the Philippines and 800 of them are accredited with TESDA. They're teaching with the support of TESDA. Kasi we gave 700 million to TESDA and ngayon nga pag-renew ng rice tarification law, gusto kong taasan yon kasi kung 700 million, 800 na yung accredited with TESDA na farm school, bigay mo pa to. Ito pa isa. Bigay mo sa lahat. And parang 1 million a year lang yun, which I think is kulang. Di ba? So, that's one of the Kasi kaya naging 10 billion yung Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund. When I asked the Bureau of the Department of Finance, how much they will collect sa tariff on rice, sabi nila sa akin 12 billion. So, nilagay ko na yung 10 billion sa Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund. After a year, they collected 18 billion. Kaya sinulat ko po noong 2021 yung financial assistance to rice farmers owning 2 hectares and below, 5,000 a year, which is 1.6 million farmers. So dapat 8 billion yon. So para may pagdalhan ng pera. But today, ang collection is 30 billion. Oh. So I intend pag-rewrite ko ng RCEP, gawin kong percentage of collection para lumalaki, lumiliit, depende sa collection. Kasi yung amin, absolute amount, hindi nag-a-adjust kung lumaki ang collection. And kung lumaki collection, di masaya ang farmer, mas maraming ibibigay sa kanila. Kung lumiit naman ang collection, masaya tayo kasi that means hindi na tayo nag-i-import ng rice, pinoproduce na ng local farmer yung ating rice. Hindi ba tama yun? O, kaya yun ang gagawin ko sa next ano. At kaya ako nilagay sa farm school kasi yung mga farmer mahihirap yan eh. Wala naman pasahe yan para pumunta sa region. Maganda yung sa bayan niya lang pupunta kasi kung at most pwede siya maglakad or mura lang ang pasahe. And at the same time, pinababayaran ko sa TESDA kasi tingin ko the farmers will not go to school if they have to pay for tuition. Wala silang pambayad sa tuition. Kaya TESDA has to pay for their tuition. And it's very successful kasi I have a farm school but yung akin parang ATI, training the trainers. And every time there's an opening, I attend. And tinitingnan ko kung sino nag-aaral. And natutuwa po ako kasi ang nag-aaral, representative of co-op of farmers. At saka yung teacher ng farm school. Yung nag-aaral sa amin, taga-probinsya, may dorm kami tumitira sa amin. And so they will study 1 week to 2 weeks and then they go back to the province to teach in yung co-op, turuan yung member ng co-op at yung mga farm school, turuan yung mga farmers sa kanilang lugar. Kaya bilib na bilib po ako kasi napunta ako every time there is an opening kasi iniimbentaryo ko yung estudyante. Usually, there are 40 students per course and we have 6 courses changing every quarter. So siguro natuturuan naming trainers would be around 1,000 a year dun sa aming farm school. It's training the trainers, parang ATI. But our students are the farm school teachers and the teachers of the co-op who will benefit from RCEP. So, yun po. So, yun po ang background ng ating rice tariffication law. And now, we will review what the agencies under the rice tariffication law has accomplished. So we will ask PhilMec, PhilRice, ATI, Land Bank, DBP. Kasali ba DBP? Oo. Oh, and ano tawag dito? Yung TESDA, 'di ba? Oo. And baka gusto magsalita ng NFA kasi under the rice tariffication law, you are not allowed to import. You are allowed only to buy from the local farmers. And you have a subsidy of 9 billion pesos a year na hindi nyo na isinasauli sa gobyerno but it's with you. And yun namang inyong mga rice na binibili, although mura yung pinagbibili, binabayaran naman namin. Like nagbabayad ang AICS. Ay, yung ano ba yung nagbibigay ng DSWD. Nagbabayad ang local government na gustong tumulong sa kanilang mga kababayan. Kami po, nagbabayad din. Oo. Kaya ako nagagalit sa inyo, last time, gusto namin magbigay sa Mindanao ng rice during the calamity. Sabi ng inyong management, kami ni Senator Nancy Binay, wala daw kayong stock. Kaya hindi kami pinagbilhan. Kaya namin gustong bumili sa inyo, mas mura sa inyo kaysa sa trader. At saka pag bumili ka for Mindanao, naandun na sa Mindanao, doon na namin kukunin sa warehouse nyo sa Mindanao. But sabi nyo, wala kayong stock. Tapos after 2 weeks, nagbenta nabalita na yung NFA nagbenta sa trader. But ayaw kami bentahan tapos sa trader nagbebenta. Kaya galit na galit ako sa inyo. Oo. Kasi bawal yun sa rice tariffication law. You can only sell to DSWD for calamity. You can only sell to the local government for calamity. And if they want to help dahil mahal ang rice, and you can sell to congressman and senator who would want to help during calamity. bakit sa trader binenta? Oh, bawal yun eh. Bawal yun. Sa rice tarification law. Tapos ngayon, gusto nila ibalik sa inyo yung power. We cannot agree to that talaga. Oo. Kung gusto ng President of the Philippines, kunin niya yung power, but not to NFA. Kaya, we have very bad experience sa NFA. Oo. Lahat kami, we have very bad experience sa NFA. Yes?
Chair, may we get the reaction of anybody from the DA family, Secretary Chu? Is it really the intention now of the executive department to restore the previous powers granted to the National Food Authority, or was it just a? Can you explain that? With the permission of my colleagues here, pwede ba?
We want to hear.
Madam Chair, I'd like to answer that question of the senator, good senator. Well, basically, the idea we have now is we have to intervene in the market. That's the basic thought, no? During these times na 15-year high ang rice sa world, El Nino phenomenon na baka maapektuhan ng ating production at medyo parang kung kukumpitin natin yung international price ngayon tapos yung retail price parang may konting kailangan natin magandang mukhang kailangan pakialaman para to keep the traders honest eh. During several instances lang naman during the year. The real intention is not to give full power back to the NFA, but use NFA lang as a conduit to operationalize certain moments of intervention, maybe once or twice a year, but not through the authority of anybody in NFA. Ang sinasabi namin is kung pwedeng ibigay ang authority sa DA Secretary, kasi tama, mas maganda ho kasi actually kay presidente ho, di ba? I mean, I agree with you. But ang tingin ko lang is the president is very busy with so many things that baka maging ang reaction is late, and kami sa DA we monitor namin to araw-araw, and we can technically foresee or kung ano mangyayari and act accordingly. But not naman to na papabayaan natin yung, ayoko rin ho mangyari yung nabanggit niyo dati sa NFA. Pati ho ako allergic dyan. No? Of course, ngayon bago na yung ating NFA administrator.
But, remember,
Nakaimpado
4,000
ako.
employees, 2,000 na nag-retire, may 2,000 pa dyan. Parang nasanay na sila ng ganyan.
No, ang binasabi ko lang Madam Chairwoman and is parang I think if possible we don't want to use this provision by the authority of kunyari, it's only as a last resort na kung kailangan mag-import, but on the authority of the secretary or even two secretaries of the cabinet.
Yes,
kung
that's correct.
kinakailangan.
Actually, yun ang recommend din namin na
Oo.
kung maaari kahit magkumpuni ng Presidential Commission on Rice Sufficiency, kasi wala ng tiwala ang sino man mambabatas dito sa Senado at gayon din ang mga magsasaka. Basta pinakialaman ng NFA, sad to say, may kababalaghan. Kaya kung maaari, yung DA, DTI, pakialaman na rin ng NFA, Kadiwa, FTI, total sila rin ang
Tsaka,
magkakalat niyan.
ah,
Pwedeng task force, pwedeng commission, pero hindi naman kailangan nasa pang-araw-araw na pagtatakbo ang Pangulo ang makikialam. Maari naman yung ating kagawaran mismo ang tututok dyan. Emergency lang po. Wag lang NFA kasi naririnig pa lang namin, nangangatog na yung tuhog namin.
Madam Chairperson, ganun din ho ang posisyon namin actually sa DA. Ganun din ho ang posisyon namin. Not NFA, but ang dadagdag ko lang ho doon, yung tama ho yung nabanggit nyo, DTI and maybe DA plus yung National Price Council.
So yung suggested retail price, hawak naman yan ng DTI. Maari naman silang nandun. At yung tumututok naman sa market vendors, yung ating mga LGU, pwedeng may kinatawan din sila dyan. Kayo na po ang bahala.
Yes.
Wag lang isaalalay dyan sa NFA. Sa kasamaan palad, ako'y malungkot na malungkot pagkat yung tatay ko ang nagtatag niyan, pumalpak na yan eh. Sunod-sunod. Ilang administrasyon na, ilang administrator na, hindi naman nagbabago ugali.
Yes, Madam Chairperson.
So it appears coming from the words of Secretary Laurel that what is being sought right now is not an amendment to the law, the existing law, but the grant of temporary authority to be used during periods of exigencies. And so, Madam Chair, perhaps the Price Act can be implicated here. So, yun po ba, Secretary Laurel?
Madam Chairperson, yung Price Act is another tool na plano namin gamitin. But the Price Act, dear senators, is may mga kolatilya siya na hindi ma-trigger basta-basta eh. That's why we need something.
You have a declaration of a state of calamity.
Hindi
to
naman
trigger that.
may trigger prices yan eh. Bago
Yung unreasonable price. Yun ang mga nakalagay doon eh. Unreasonable, etc. So, diretsuhin ko yung tanong. So, hindi kailangan baguhin yung batas.
Meron ho akong, Madam Chairperson, meron kailangan baguhin in my opinion is, kasi ngayon ang NFA has no power to intervene. Kahit siya bumili ng local rice, not imported hindi niya pwedeng ibenta to ng palugi basta-basta. Yun ang problema. Parang buffer stocking lang siya ng buffer stocking.
Provision of the law, he can sell it to local government, to DSWD, to us na mga public official who would want to help in times of calamity. But ayaw nila magbenta sa akin eh.
Well, yung siguro mababago na siguro tayo dun sa hindi mabenta ho sa inyo. Pero yung parang we cannot intervene kagaya ngayon, tingin namin may presyong 55 to 60 ang presyo. Dapat ang import cost is 49, 48 lang eh. So dapat yan nasa 51, 52 lang eh. Kailangan namin sundutin yan eh na kahit for local rice, not even imported.
Provision, intervene.
Kailangan namin mag-release ng slow sa market at market price or wholesale price from time to time in order to temper yung
I think, Secretary Laurel, hindi pa naman ako pinapanganak noon. Siguro yun yung original intention ng RCA. Nung araw, meron tayong Rice and Corn Administration. Bago ginawa itong NGA, National Grains Authority. Alam na ni Senator Marcos yan. Sina Secretary Jesus Tanchanco nung araw. Tapos NFA. So balik ulit tayo dun sa RCA. Parang ganon?
Hindi ko rin yata inabutan ho yung RCA.
Ako pinapanganak nun, sir. Ang alam ko ang RCA, television nung araw eh.
Meron pa isang provision, Madam Chair, na gusto namin palagay, yung warehouse registration. Nawala din yun sa power ng NFA.
Which one?
Registration of warehouses. Now, NFA has no power to monitor and
Hindi naman kailangan na yung ilagay sa batas eh. Talaga naman trabaho nyo yun to to
At ang balita, sila yung
inventory ng warehouses eh.
At with all due respect, sila ang balitang nagka-cartelize pati ng bodega.
well, sasagot lang ni Ma'am.
Alam mo, one of my investigation tungkol sa onion, yung mga onion farmers sa Nueva Ecija, they were forced to sell the onions at 8 pesos per kilo. Ang ano nila, ang kanilang cost is 25 pesos dahil wala daw silang warehouse. Oo. And then we discovered that there is a warehouse given by the government to their co-op. Ang ginawa nung kanyang in charge ng co-op, pinalist sa trader. Tapos hindi pinagamit sa small farmer. Tapos yung 8 pesos na yun na binili, yun ang binenta sa atin at 600 pesos per kilo nung nagkagulo tungkol sa onion. So ibig sabihin, dapat i-inventaryo yung mga warehouse na binigay sa mga co-op. Kasi imbis na paggamit sa co-op, pinarelease sa trader. Oo, tapos yung mga co-op forced to sell their goods ng napakamura kasi mabubulok. Oo, yun.
Hindi po ba trabaho yan ng DA? Bakit ibibigay na naman ang kapangyarihan sa NFA? Parang lihis na yan. Kasi mismo yung main mandate nila na yung mandato talaga nila, yung buffer stocking, hindi nila magampanan. Dadagdagan pa natin ng kung ano-anong kapangyarihan. Ano nang natitira sa DA? DA na lang ang tumutok sa bodega. Tigilan na yan. Hanggang magampanan ng NFA yung tanging mandato sa kanila na mag-buffer stock hanggang sa 60, 90 days, wag na natin pag-usapan yung pagdagdag ng kapangyarihan pa sa NFA na yan. Pwede po ba? DA na lang ang sumagot niyan. Trabaho naman ninyo yan eh. Wala nang matitira sa DA.
Yeah.
We're
I
taking,
just want to recognize the presence of Senator Bato de la Rosa. You want to say something? Ayan. Okay, go ahead.
we're taking the advice that we're hearing so far. We're taking the advice, Madam Senator, and we will look at it and see how we can move forward. We just have to word it in such a way that explicitly DA will have that. Because right now, parang ano po, we're taking the advice po, Madam Senator.
Yes, I don't think you need to change anything. It doesn't have to be explicit, but the Department of Agriculture has very wide-ranging powers with everything and anything to do with food. So I cannot understand why there's a claim now that you have no powers. You have extensive powers with regard to agriculture and food. It's bizarre that you are now claiming that you have no powers over the warehouses.
I just want to reiterate na nung pinagawa sa akin ng RTL, talagang binira lang talaga NFA. Galit na galit din yung administration sa NFA. Pinatatanggal nga eh. Hindi ko lang tinanggal kasi ang daming empleyado eh. Pinatatanggal na yan eh. Oo. Tapos ngayon, i-restore natin. Hindi, binigyan pa rin natin sila ng power. May 9 billion a year sila to do buffer stocking. 9 billion, di naman pinupulot ang 9 billion. And that 9 billion never returns to the government. It's always with them. Kaya nga kung iniipon mo yung 9 billion na yon, eh marami ka ng pera ngayon, di ba? Every year bibigyan ka ng 9 billion, di ba? Tapos hindi mo na i-return. Katulad nung binibigay natin sa DBP na pang loan, libre yan eh. Kaya ang DBP, pauutang yan ng mura sa mga farmer kasi no cost of money. It's given by the government every year from the tariff on rice. O walang cost. So ang cost lang nila is yung administrative cost nila ng pagpapautang. And then nahihirapan tayo kasi yung small farmer hindi marunong umutang sa bangko. Kasi hindi sila sanay ng ganun. So sabi ko sa kanila, pautang nyo sa co-op ng farmers para yung co-op ng farmers ang magpautang sa member nila and pwede kayong magdagdag para tumubo pa kayo. Anyway, yung tubo nyo naman, pupunta din sa member nyo at the end of the year. So maganda ring model yon, di ba?
Madam Chair, may I
Yung emergency power, may nakita.
Yes po. Ipapaliwanag ko lang sana, nasa website naman ninyo, liwaliwanag. Ang website ninyo nagsasabi that the DA is the principal agency responsible for the promotion of agricultural development growth. In pursuit of this policy, direct public investment in partnership with the LGU's support services. Hindi ba maituturing support services yung mga bodega? At talagang kinakailangan ng support services necessary to make agriculture and agri-based enterprises profitable and help spread the benefits of development to the poor, particularly in rural areas. Ito ang nakatakda sa inyong website mismo at ang liwanag naman siguro na warehousing is part and parcel of the support services that are alluded to.
Madam Chair, yung request namin sa warehouses is well, pwede naman hindi sa NFA, no? Is the control and the power to obligate everybody to register and be monitored.
I think that
Ang-
is part of your wide-ranging
Baka
rule-making
hingi nila
power.
kami sa inyo ng additional
We
legislator
can
to
insert that in the
empower
law kung gusto
That-
mo.
DA more na lang.
can
Kung
be
ayaw nyo sa NFA.
It can be inserted, but I think
Pati sa
there is
inspection.
there is no prohibition on that. Nasa sa inyo na to take up the cudgels for all those who attempt to cartelize and otherwise limit the use of warehouses.
Yes, Madam Chair, we can,
There already. I don't think.
yeah, we'll just add, we'll probably add. Madam Chair, we'll just add na lang. And kung
Yeah.
ayaw nyo sa NFA, okay din sa amin na sa amin lang ibigay.
Allergic po.
Pati dun sa ano yung Madam Chair, yung sa power to import as a last resort, kung ayaw nyo sa NFA din ho, as long as bigay nyo sa amin and
Emergency power.
emergency power,
Indicate
we'll
that as
fine,
an
that is fine
emergency
with
power.
us. Thank you, ma'am.
Madam Chair, Madam Chair, Madam
Yes.
Chair.
Yes.
I recognize the presence of the NIA administrator. Siguro dito natin paupuin sa is also an important personality in this discussion, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Kapapasok lang ng preventive suspension sa higit 70 na warehouse supervisors ng NFA at binawi daw ng ombudsman, ano? So pumasok na naman itong kasong to. So maganda siguro ilayo muna natin yung NFA diyan. Kasi
Very
nakakahiya na po itong
controversial eh.
nangyayari sa atin. At siguro balikan natin yung primary mandate ng NFA. Balikan lang nila yung buffer stocking. Di nga nila magampanan eh kung ano-ano pa idadagdag natin.
Okay, yes. Right. So, another, before we start the reporting, kasi everybody will report eh. Oh. I just want to mention that I reviewed, kasi itong House version, binibigyan pa ng power ang NIA to build dams. Ako kasi, ang gusto ko, magbigay ng water impounding facility with solar power, yung maliliit. Kasi ang dam, napakatagal. Kailangan na natin ngayon. So yon, i-explain ko lang, nung reviewing ko ang budget ng NIA, I just want to mention this again to the head of NIA. Abay, lahat ng performance ng project nila, 10%. So, puro 10%, walang tapos, puro 10%. Sabi ko sa kanila, Secretary TU, bantayan mo, kahit na mas konti every year, pero tapos for the year. Hindi yung puro 10% na walang tapos. Tiningnan ko kasi yung listahan nila eh, puro 10% na walang tapos. Ipara na yung kadami-dami. Every year, kung 4 lang, pero tapos for the year, then next year, 4, natapos din for the year, and next year, 4, for the year. Baguhin lang yung strategy sa NIA kasi ang nangyayari, ang dami-daming project kasi gustong pagbigyan lahat, pero wala namang natatapos. So, how will we benefit from a project na 10%? Kaya ko lang sinasabi kasi naandito ka, Secretary Laurel, para alam mo na yun yung nakita namin sa budget nila, puro 10%. Walang natatapos.
We'll do, ma'am. Madam Chairman, we'll do
Oo.
that.
We just want na kahit konti for the year, tapos next year may 4 na naman tapos next year may 4 naman tapos, para yung benefit can go to the farmers, di ba? And then, since lumaki na yung collection sa Rice Competitiveness Enhancement, sa RTL, magbibigay kami for yung small water impounding facility with solar power para pang tulong sa NIA. Oo, kasi tingin ko mas practical yung kasi madaling gawin at mas mura, marami tayong magagawa. Okay. Di ba?
Madam Chairperson, maganda ho yung binanggit nyo at I fully agree and mag-uusapan ho namin ni Admin Gillian.
Oh,
Yung sa small water impounding at solar irrigation, yun din ho yung direction natin sa DA
Oo.
using BSWM din natin along with NIA rin.
tingin ko mas practical yun eh. So we start now. Who will be the first one? The PhilMec. Okay, we'll make the report. Thank you.
konting hirit lang po sa ating chairwoman kung papayag. Bago magsi-report, hihingin ko lang yung National Rice Program. Kasi hanggang ngayon wala pa pong breakdown. Panay ang hingi ko nung National Rice Program, yung tinukoy po ng ating chairwoman na 30,889,904. But the breakdown contained in the GAA, at least in 2024, is quite generic. You have something called production support services at 24 billion. I'd like to see that in greater detail. Parati natin pinag-iinteresan itong RCEP eh. Ano ba nangyayari dyan sa National Rice Program? At bakit hindi binibiyak at dinidetalye itong gastusin po ninyo? Kasi kung ano-anong nandito, 24 billion, it's a huge block, not broken into the different services. Also, there's a repeat here that looks like a double entry. There's an irrigation network services that should properly belong to NIA, perhaps, unless you explain to us the 1 billion and so forth. There is further agricultural equipment and facility support at 3 billion. So kung sana maibigay ito para makita natin kung talagang hindi nagdodoble sa gamit ng RCEP yung 10 billion at yung higit na nakokolekta sa buwis. Kasi parang hindi nagkakaugnay eh. Yung RCEP lang ang mainit sa mata samantalang mas malaki yung nasa DA. Yun lang po.
At saka yung DA, yung National Rice Program, galing yan sa GAA. Oo, control yan ng Department of Agriculture. Yung RCEF, galing yun sa sa tariff on rice, yung RTL, and kontrolado yun ng batas. Nakasulat sa batas kung saan dadalhin. Oo. Ayan. Hindi, totoo yan. Oh.
Madam Chair,
Sige.
we will provide, Madam Senator, the breakdown of the 30 billion.
Okay.
And for as a quick answer, sa irrigation network service of the National Rice Program, these are the small scale irrigation systems like shallow tube well, open source pumps. And
I
that,
understand.
Apo.
Pero ang NIA, namimigay rin yan eh.
Ah.
At saka ang alam natin, DSWM, meron din silang heading ganyan. So paulit-ulit, pero sa ibaba, wala namang halos natatanggap. Yan nga ang pinagtatakahan namin. At matagal ko nang hinihingi itong production support services ng rice program dahil pagkalaki-laki 24 billion. Pero wala naman nagbibigay ng breakdown.
we'll provide the details, ma'am,
Yeah.
sa office through the Madam Chair.
Daisy Duran po, ang reyna ng gulay sa Bulacan. Ako po ay isang produkto ng farm school ni Senator Villar na ako po yung isa sa naniwala sa kanyang proyekto na ang magsasaka po ay hindi lang mabuhay sa pagtatanim, pagbubungkal, pagbebenta, bagamat ang amin pong kakayanan ay maisalin sa mga kapwa magsasaka, sa mga kabataan na makita ang kagandahan ng pagsasaka sa ating bansa. Kaya po ang Duran Farm ay accredited po, kauna-unahang accredited po na farm school dito po sa Pilipinas. At salamat din po sa DOT, kasama rin po sa batas, na kami po ay maging puntahan ng mga turista. So yan po yung aming mga naging business sa amin pong farm school. At gayon din po kami po ay nagsusupply din ng aming pong gulay. Ang totoo po nito, kami po ay natuto sa Agricultural Training Institute ng Palayamanan, yung pong palay, halaman at mga prutas na isang pagkain po ng isang kumpletong pagkain po ng atin pong mamamayan. Kaya po ito ngayon yung aming itinuturo sa amin pong farm school. Nagpapasalamat po kami na ito pong Farm Tourism Act na noon po ay ako rin po ang naging resource person sa Kongreso at Senado na may katambal po na RCEP na ngayon lamang po naramdaman ng mga tao sa pamamagitan din po ng aming mga farm school ay naipapaliwanag po namin sa amin pong mga participant o sa aming trainees na meron pong patalaan, yung pong RSBSA. Kung makatala kayo dito, kayo ay makakatanggap ng ayuda ng pamahalaan. Kami pong farm school na ginawa ni Senator Villar, 800 na pala kami. Na nagsimula po kami ng 2016 ay 1, 2, pailan-ilan po. Ngayon po 800 na po ang nagpapalaganap ng proyekto pong ito. Kaya po salamat po sa RCEP. Nararamdaman na po ang libreng 5,000 libreng binhi, libreng pataba, libreng makinarya, at mga libreng training sa ATI at TESDA. Ang sa akin lamang po ay sana po ay kaming mga farm school, kung ito po ay aamyendahan o i-extend, kami po sana ay makasama bilang benepisyaryo ng makinarya. Kasi po kami po ay nag-invest ng aming mga desk, upuan, table, mga gamit, asarol, lahat po. Pero hindi po namin kaya ang makinarya. Sana po bilang kami ay farm school, may kakayanan po ang aming trainer dahil tinraining po ng ng PhilMec na mag-repair. Naglaan po kami ng mga empleyado na nakalaan po sa pagre-repair nito. Sana po kami po ay mabigyan dahil ito po yung medyo mahal na i-invest po ng isang farm school. Kung mag-i-amend po ang batas na ito, hinihiling po namin na makasama ang farm school sa bibigyan. Opo, okay po na may kooperatiba. Ako rin po ay chairman ng kooperatiba sa Bulacan. Nakikipag-MOA po ako sa aming kooperatiba. Pero pag panahon po ng produksyon, hindi po namin mahiram. Dahil po ang focus nila ay sa produksyon. Kaya po sana madinig po ninyo na dagdagan ng pondo para po sa makinarya, para po sa aming mga farm school. Total naman po kami po ay SEC accredited. Marami po kaming pinagdaan ng accreditation, learning site for agriculture ng ATI. Lahat po kaya po kami ay nararapat lamang din po na mabigyan po ng ayuda sa larangan po ng makinarya.
Okay. Dahil nabanggit na nga itong mga pribilehyo na binibigay ng RCEP, nais kong sundan si Miss Duran at i-move na isama talaga yung ating main event na hindi na nabanggit dahil sa palagay ko, unanimous naman po tayo na i-move, and this is a motion, na pa-extend natin yung RCEP 2025 for another 6 years to 20.
Yay! Ako po. Ayan. Salamat po. At ano pa ba itong mga ninote ko dito? Sana rin po ay madagdagan po ang pondo sa ATI. Nito pong FFS. Ang pagkakalam ko nung araw na ito po binuo yung pong Farmer Field School. Ito po ay nanggaling sa Department of Agriculture na siyang nag-identify talaga ng talagang magsasaka. Kasi po kaming mga magsasaka ang talagang dapat madagdagan ng kaalaman tungkol po sa mechanization. Pero dahil ang RBSA po ay ang may hawak kay Department of Agriculture, sana po mayroon ding pondo sa kanila sa FFS. Bagamat meron po sa TESDA, pero parang api po, 700 po sa TESDA, 100 lang po sa ATI at PhilRice. So, ang problema lang po dyan, Senator, ay yung pong pag-identify ng talagang beneficiary. Sila po kasi ang talagang nakakakilala dahil sila po ang may hawak ng RSBSA. So, ano po ang maganda? Pero sa amin po, para talagang magtugma sa talagang nangangailangan, DA po ang may hawak ng RSBSA. At sila rin po ang katulong namin sa pag-identify ng mga magsasaka po.